What is up, collectors? Welcome back to Films by Color and to another edition of This Week in Physical Media, the weekly live show on this channel where we dive into and cover every new Blu-ray and 4K release that's coming out tomorrow on Tuesday, like always. Today we're talking about August 27th, 2024. We're already in the last week of August, and you guys know what that means. If you've been watching this show for a while, the last week of the month is packed. We've got so much to cover this week. All of the boutique labels dropping all of their stuff, especially Vinegar Syndrome and all their partner labels. We've got some of the new Cinematograph releases coming out this week, which I'm very excited to talk about, and I got to get caught up on those. We've got some Kino Lorber, as always, of course, Shout Factory, Radiance, Criterion, of course, to talk about this evening. So all kinds of goodies. Anything in the physical media realm is on the table tonight. We'll go over all the new releases, and of course, I'll talk to you guys about whatever you want to talk about movies. We shoot this show live every Monday night, Eastern Standard Time, 9 p.m. So if you feel so inclined, or if you are free on Monday nights, we'd love to come out and join us and talk about all things movies and physical media. We always have a good time talking about all kinds of crazy stuff. Sometimes we get on some crazy tangents, but it's always a good time, and we'd love to have you join us. Let's go ahead and go to the chat, speaking of, and see who's here already tonight. Give some shout-outs here. The first person I saw was Baloney in the chat. Pop it in. Says, checking in and ready to get my recommended weekly allowance by Films by Color Live. Well, we're going to give it to you. Like always, we're going to talk about everything we can tonight. Try to fit it in about an hour and a half and get you on your way. Henry Bidenkamp says, good evening, DJ and everyone. We have a lot to get through. Silence! We have a lot to get through tonight. Everybody ready? I'm ready. As ready as I can be. I've perused the list. I've looked through, but there's a lot to get through, so we'll have plenty of stuff to talk about. Michael Smith, internet user. Jeffrey Patron is here. Welcome to the stream. Magnitude Rev popping in to say hi. Thank you so much. I don't think he frequents the live streams, but I talked to him in the comments quite a bit, and he's got a good Letterboxd profile as well. Carrie Witt says, hey DJ, happy Monday. Happy Monday to you. Let's do it. This is the best part of my Monday, tuning in with you guys and talking about stuff. So let's see what we got. Let's switch over to the new releases. Here we are on the second monitor. And first thing here is a big one. A lot of people are going to be excited about this one. This film, though, has been released about 150 times. I think there's so many releases of this film, and I don't have one. I actually have not seen this film. I know, terrible to admit that on live television here, but I have not seen Drive. Drive is one of those movies, let me know in the chat or in the comments afterwards if you have movies like this where the film bros of the world have kind of ruined the movie. Not ruined the movie, but they kind of made it not... I'm not as enticed to check it out because it has been like heralded by the film bros as like one of the greatest movies of all time. I'm sure it's a great movie, and there are several movies like this. I think Fight Club is another good example of this. Probably a really great movie, but I'm not excited to run out and see it because it's just been so overdone. But this looks great. This is like the first big time I can remember like seeing Ryan Gosling like shining as the lead in a movie, but I just haven't got around to it. I know I need to. It's one I need to check off the list finally, but it's had some incredible releases. The second sight release I always see as one of the best physical media releases we've got, but this is the new Steelbook version that's coming out. I assume it's a new Steelbook. I don't know. I guess it could be a re-release, but I don't remember seeing this one. But it's a beautiful kind of blue and pink color scheme for Drive. Always a very vibrant looking releases for this one. There's the cover of it. That's the inside. I'll give you a blow up here of what the actual front of it looks like. There you go. Some nice artwork. I like it. This is a 4K Blu-ray digital combo pack. Maybe this will be the release that I finally grab. According to Blu-ray.com, it is a 5 out of 5 for the 4K video quality and for the audio quality. So apparently a really, really good transfer, really good release, and a nice little steelbook packaging if you do like that. So there you go. Drive, $35 right now on Amazon. List price is $46. So, is that really the list price? It's coming out and it's already marked down to $35. But if you haven't picked up Drive yet, or if you don't have the 4K, there you go. There's a nice little release for you. Moving on to another 4K release. This is from Vinegar Syndrome. Like I said, getting into the Vinegar Syndrome releases early this week for a really exciting looking release. What the heck is this? Reptilicus is coming out. Let's show you the front here. Look at that. That artwork's great. I feel like I've seen this artist several times on some of their other covers that they've done. It looks pretty cool. Look at that. You got a guy being eaten back there by this giant dragon-looking thing. I don't know what Reptilicus is, but is it some kind of god creature? Is it just a monster? There's the slipcover. Same artwork on the slipcover, but a little bit of a bigger image there for you to check out. Reptilicus, a film from 1961. Kind of looks like maybe a low-budget horror sci-fi action film. I got to admit, I haven't seen Reptilicus, but if it's a stop-motion creature feature, that sounds right up my alley. That's a little bit different than what Vinegar Syndrome usually puts out. So I'm actually interested in that. There's one movie on there, but there's 2 different cuts. Seems like a really good release. It's got a 4K and a Blu-ray. So let me know if you guys have seen Reptilicus out there, because that looks fun. And then next up, coming from Vinegar Syndrome as well, we've got a Chinese torture chamber story. Is that a play on the Chinese ghost story films? Chinese torture chamber story. 1 and 2, so 2 movies in here. 3 different cuts from 1994 to 1998. These are erotic thrillers. So it's torture. I guess it's an interesting kind of torture chamber. I'm very, very nervous to open up these images and show you what they look like. There we go. Not too bad. Not too bad for Vinegar Syndrome, but that's the slipcover on that. Like always, you're going to get a slipcover and original pressing on these, limited to 6,000 copies. And that is a 2-pack coming out from Vinegar Syndrome this week. Then we're going to jump to Arrow Video. I'm just going to get through this top row, and then I'll talk to you guys in the live chat, so don't worry. I'm not going to get too far ahead, but I want to get moving pretty quickly here because we've got a lot to cover. This is the big one. Lots of people talking about this release. The Mexico Trilogy from Arrow Video. I've already watched several videos on this. I watched Ken's video on it earlier this week, and Heath did his unboxing that I watched this morning. This is a very well-known director. This is El Mariachi, Desperado, and Once Upon a Time in Mexico. One of those, the middle one, is a 4K release. The other 2 are Blu-ray discs, and this is a limited edition, big, thick box set from Arrow Video with a slipcover over the top, like they've been doing lately with their Clash of the Titans box set. I'll show you what that looks like. There it is. You got a big, thick box. They slide into the side. Each one has their own case. Art cards, posters, the whole deal. You know what your Arrow box sets look like at this point. If you want to pick up the Mexico Trilogy, you can go ahead and get those, or you can just get Desperado by itself in a 4K single edition, which we'll talk about here in just a minute. But very cool release for some lower budget early films from Robert Rodriguez, if you're interested in those. And then lastly here, we're going to talk about Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, which I did put in the thumbnail because it's a big release, new 2024 release that I've heard some good things about. I haven't had a chance to check it out yet, couldn't get to the theater, but I love the trilogy. I love the new trilogy. Of course, I love the original as well, but the trilogy's great, and I'm looking forward to checking this out. We've got a standard edition 4K release with a slipcover here, and that's what that's going to look like. Don't know who that is. I actually don't know who that is. It can't be Caesar, right? So that's got to be some new protagonist that I can't wait to see. This is a 4K Blu-ray and digital copy for $50. What is the world coming to? Why is it $50 just for a standard slipcover edition? Amazon is charging $50 for this. It is a 4K Blu-ray digital, but that is insane. That's nuts. Is that where we're headed? Standard 4Ks are $50 now? Please, nobody buy that. Nobody support that. Then we've also got a Steelbook version. I don't even want to know the Steelbook price. $66 for the Steelbook price retail. Good Lord, this is getting out of hand. For a standard non-boutique, non-box set, nothing, just a standard release, $65 for the Steelbook. It's a pretty looking Steelbook. I'll give it that. It looks nice. They're kind of stepping up their artwork on these. Kind of looks like a boutique release. But $65 is ludicrous. Ludicrous for this. Good gracious. There you go. You've got the Steelbook. There's a couple of different options. You can get the single edition with the slipcover or the Steelbook version. And I'm sure there's just a Blu-ray only version, which I might be tempted to go for with these outrageous prices they're doing here. Let's see if we can find the Blu-ray. I can't even find it. There's so much stuff to talk about. But I'm sure they're going to do that. They always release a single edition Blu-ray release. But that's the first row. That's the top row. That's the biggest, most popular releases coming out tomorrow, excuse me. Let's switch over to the main, and I'll talk to you guys in the chat a little bit here. What are people saying about this first row of releases? Henry Bidenkamp, Drive is very good and an enjoyable ride. I like what you did there. Dan's Den, not a huge fan of Drive. Much prefer Walter Hill's The Driver. Jay Hutch talks too much. Also not a fan of Drive. He watched it for Albert Brooks, and he was great in it, but I didn't find the story or the style interesting. Interesting. Internet user also says this is an Albert Brooks week, Real Life, Mother, and Drive. That's right. I didn't realize he was in Drive, but we are going to get to his other Criterion releases that are coming out later today. Kevin House just wanted to say hello, but think I'll regrettably drop out and watch the replay. Had my surgery last Tuesday, and I'm still dealing with some recovery issues. Have a great chat. Oh, well, I hope you feel well soon, Kevin. Go ahead and rest up and get some sleep. I'm having surgery myself this Friday, so I don't know if there'll be a show next week or not. Maybe so. Hopefully I'll be recovered by Monday, but we'll see how it goes. I'll let you guys know. Posty, I have had the Second Sight Drive 4K for a long time, but I can't bring myself to watch it. I'm worried it's not going to hold up because I loved it when it came out. Okay. Well, at least you got the beautiful release. Hopefully you get around to watching it at some point. Thank you, Christian Reyes, for bringing this up. Barnes & Noble Arrow 50% off sale started today. I've heard about this, so if you guys are interested in some of these Arrow titles we talk about today, or any Arrow titles, head out to your Barnes & Noble. If you still have a Barnes & Noble that sells Arrow titles, because mine doesn't at all. But even if they don't, I think you can get them to order stuff for you. So I might do that. I might peruse the list and see if there's anything I want. But I don't know if there's anything I want from Arrow right now. I think I'm good on my Arrow titles, and I think I'm good spending money for this month because I bought a lot of stuff. I kind of need to chill out a little bit. But thanks for sharing that with us, Christian. I hope you find some good stuff there from Arrow. Carrie Witt, okay, DJ, your drive time has come. 1, it has a great soundtrack. 2, very well directed and a great cast. And just do it. Yeah, I know. There's a lot of stuff on my list that I need to get to, but we'll see. This might finally be my chance. Baloney says the last Planet of the Apes film is great. I've heard that. I want to check it out. J Hutch talks too much. Buy it, but for $65 you get a whole Planet of Apes. Hey, that's a pretty good deal. But I don't think you're going to be happy with those results there. Gus just popped in, says DJ very excitedly. Thank you so much, Gus, for always bringing the energy on these streams. Really enjoy having you here. Connor Nielsen popping in as well. Gus says Drive SS 4K looks amazeballs. That's what I hear. That's what I hear from the review. So I hope it looks good. One more thing here from Kyle Hartman. Good evening, DJ. I got Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes 4K earlier. Mexico Trilogy from Arrow. Desperado 4K Steelbook earlier. And Drive Steelbook 4K. Wow, so Kyle's way ahead of the game. He's already picked up several of these releases. Be sure to let us know what you think of them if you get around to watching them. I'm going to go to the second row here of new releases, and we'll keep trucking through this. Another Vinegar Syndrome release. This looks like a movie made by someone who really liked Mad Max in the 90s and just cranked it up to 11. What in the world is going on here? Look at this guy. This guy, what more can you say? This looks absolutely crazy. Look at this guy. I love this guy. He's just really into his role here. But that looks like fun. I don't know if it's a great movie or anything, but it's called Intrepido's Punks and Vengeance of the Punks. 2 films for the price of 2 films, really. It's $43. It's not exactly a deal. But there you go. There's the slipcover on that. I want to look at the slip back. Oh, it's it's more excited bikers riding at the screen. There you go. Intrepido's Punks, a Mad Max clone from 1988 to 1991. There you go, your standard Vinegar Syndrome release. What more could you ask for? Poltergeist 2 getting a 4K collector's edition. I say collector's edition in quotes because it looks just like a standard release. I guess there is a slipcover. I don't mean to trash Shout Factory. They're a great label. They put out a lot of cool stuff. It's just funny when they put out collector's edition and it's just kind of a standard. It's just funny to me. I'm sure it's great. I'm sure there's some cool supplements on there. But Poltergeist 2 getting a release from Shout Factory. I'm sure a lot of people will be excited about that, getting a 4K release. These prices, man. These prices are steep. Wow. I'm having to buy less and less lately. Sudden Death getting a 4K release from Kino Lorber. Another, what's his face? Jean-Claude Van Damme film. They've released a few of his films from Kino Lorber. There you go. Sudden Death. Terror Goes Into Overtime. Cool release. Very cool release from Kino Lorber. They're really going crazy with the 4K releases. Usually, for the last few months, we've been tracking this, and they have been putting out a good mix of 4K and Blu-ray, but these last couple weeks, it's been mainly all 4K, all slipcovers. They're really stepping it up lately. So good job, Kino Lorber. And their prices are always better than everybody else's. 4K release, $40. Where right now you can get it on Amazon for only $28. Brand new, the Van Damme film Sudden Death. And then, like I alluded to earlier, we've got a 4K single edition release of Desperado, and this is a steelbook. Arrow goes back and forth between their slipcovers and their steelbooks. This one's a steelbook, and it looks pretty cool. It's all black. You've got Antonio Banderas right there, sporting some very luscious locks. It looks incredible. I don't know if that's real. That has to be real. Is that real? Or a wig? I don't know. It looks incredible either way. And there you go. The double guns right there on the front, and then underneath. Does it have a slipcover? Why are there two different artworks? Hold on. I'll go back to this thing. Oh, no, excuse me. Not a false alarm. No slipcover, just a steelbook, and then there's some art cards underneath. Desperado from 1995. There you go. Again, $60 for that steelbook. Ooh, you're going to need that 50% off sale from Arrow this month because their prices are pretty steep. It seems to be universal across the board. Everything's going up. Everything's going up except for how many releases I can pick up in a month. That's plummeting. Down. All right, next up we've got Amanda from AGFA, a partner label from Vinegar Syndrome. This is a little rom-com from 1995. Again, that's a popular year this week. Here's the Amanda slipcover, if you want a blown-up picture of that. Can Amanda keep a very big secret from her very best friend? I don't know. Seems suspenseful, but it is rated R, so it's an R-rated like teenage rom-com. Which is fun. Don't get a lot of those. And then jumping back to Kino Lorber here, we've got Alphaville getting a 4K release. Like I said, across the board with these 4K releases, a 1965 kind of mystery thriller with a little bit of romance thrown in. This looks interesting. There's the cover on that one. It's a Godard film. Interesting. It's always interesting to see how these directors get their films split up. Like Criterion obviously has a lot of Godard films, but Kino Lorber's really been kind of stealing Criterion's thunder lately. They've been not only stealing directors that Criterion likes to put out, but they've been stealing specific releases. I think we'll see one of those later, releases that Criterion has, but then Kino Lorber swoops in and puts out the 4K version. So it's a battle. It's a battle between the boutique labels. This is what Kino Lorber's dropping this week. Alphaville on top of the the Sudden Death release that I already mentioned. Let's pop over to the chat real quick and see what people are saying because I could use a sip of water. So let me browse through the chat here for a second. Sudden Death. From internet user, what your wallet will experience with these prices. Exactly. That's what I'm saying, man. Carrie Witt, I wonder if they use the term collector's edition when they know their license has a limited time. Maybe so. I think they're just kind of trying to make it sound more appealing, though. Let's see. Connor Nielsen, you dare question the credibility of Antonio's hair? I know. I'm sorry. I apologize. Gus says, I got the Desperado 4K Steelbook last week. Oh, no. Right before the sale. I've been there. Sorry for your loss. That's Michael Smith. The hair was real. Rodriguez confirmed in the commentary. Good. See, that's the kind of hard-hitting facts I want in my commentary releases. Hutch talks too much. I wonder if Amanda's secret has anything to do with the alien. I love how nobody has seen any of these movies and we're all just making jokes about these releases. Usually we're more informed than this, guys. I promise. If this is your first stream, don't worry. It gets better. This is the last month. This is the last week of the month, so it's a little silly up in here. Posty, Alphaville is very interesting. I've seen it a couple times and I can't quite vibe with it, but there's a lot of interesting stuff in it. Interesting. There you go. There's a take from someone who's actually seen the film. Carrie Witt, I will say that Kane character in Poltergeist 2 is pretty creepy, although the film is very mild overall. Mid overall, excuse me. I put the wrong slang term in there. Oh, Ethan Edwards, I just updated my Alphaville DVD to Blu-ray less than a year ago, and now it gets a 4K. Same with the Melville films. I'm so sorry, Ethan. Thank you for your service. We appreciate what you've done for us. That happens to the best of us. Happens to me, so I know it happens to the best of us because I am nowhere near the best of us collectors. Let's jump back to the new releases. We got to power through these this evening. I'm going to go quickly through these Vincent releases because there's so many of them. Here's another one. 8 Eyes getting a Blu-ray release, and this is the slipcover. Look at that. Blown up. Wow. That's nice. If you can say one thing about Vinegar Syndrome, they've got some lovely looking slipcovers. That's a limited one, of course, in original pressing, like always. I have no idea what Eight Eyes is, but it looks like a horror film. And here we go, finally, getting down to the Criterion releases. Not as popular as I would have thought this would be. I remember a couple months ago when they announced this one. This is the Albert Brooks film, directed by Albert Brooks, Real Life. One of two Albert Brooks films we're going to talk about this evening. An American comedy. Look at this. I love the artwork on this one. Not so much the artwork on the other one we're going to talk about, but this one looks good. I put it in the thumbnail. I think I like it quite a bit. 1979. I'm assuming it's an American comedy based on that. Yep, it is a comedy film from 1979. Haven't seen that one. I haven't seen a lot of Albert Brooks. I've seen Defending Your Life in the collection, which I don't think he directed that. Did he direct that? I know he acts in it. I don't remember if he directed it or not, but that was fun. I'm looking forward to Real Life. Maybe I'll pick this one up in the November sale. But if you want to get it early, you can run out to your Barnes & Noble right now and pick it up. It's a 4K Blu-ray combo pack. Let's go ahead and just get into the other one while we have it here. This is Mother getting a 4K Blu-ray combo pack as well. It seems like Criterion is just 4Ks across the board at this point, given the last announcement week that we talked about. This is the front of that one. Just a photo here. No One Misunderstands You Better. Mother from 1996. There you go, starring Debbie Reynolds and Albert Brooks. Kind of an uninteresting cover, but I don't know. I haven't seen the film. Maybe it works. But there you go. That is another comedy film with a little bit more drama in it than the last one. A little bit more serious. I'm sure it comes around. It's about mothers. I'm sure it gets a little sentimental at the end. But it's about a neurotic, twice divorced sci-fi writer who moves back in with his mom to solve his personal problems. Hilarity ensues. Sentimentality ensues. Who knows? Not me, because I haven't seen that one, but I'm looking forward to it. That's your standard Criterion price for a 4K release, $50. So wait till that sale month and get that for $25. That's my recommendation of the day. What do you got? Let's share some recs with me. Next up, we've got Degasser Video, another partner label from Vincin, releasing Blood Cult from 1985. Another low-budget, standard Vinegar Syndrome release, a horror film from 1985. Look at that. Another shower scene. The first movie made for the home video market might just scare you to death. Whoa! Tall order from Blood Cult. Let's see if it lives up to the hype. $32 right now, limited to 3,000 copies on that slipcover. And here we are. This is what I alluded to earlier, the 4K release that is, of course, a Criterion release that had a Blu-ray that was limited, that was out of print, ran out of print. I, of course, like a blind, dumb consumer, rushed to eBay and bought myself an overpriced copy of last year in Marienbad. And of course, what happens? Just like what happened with The Man Who Fell to Earth, it gets a 4K announced. This one's from Kino Lorber. Like I said, Kino Lorber swooping in, releasing those 4K masters of the original Kino Lorber. Studio Canal, man. The dreaded Studio Canal is a thorn in Criterion's side. They keep stealing the movies back and then selling them to Kino Lorber. What a dirty move, Studio Canal. You steal it from Criterion and then you sell it to someone else for probably a higher price. There it is. Last year at Marienbad, a film by Alain Resnais, and this is a part of the Kino Classics line. Love that they're doing this. We'll talk about this a little bit later, but Kino Lorber is kind of really leaning into splitting everything up into these different categories. They've got the Kino Cult line now. So they've got Kino Lorber, Kino Cult, and Kino Classics. I think there's a couple others as well. This is part of the Classics line. This is a 1961 French film, and it's classic. And of course, I'm sure it looks great in 4K. It's a nice black and white film. I think I'm going to hold on to my Blu-ray from Criterion because I worked so hard to get it. But if you missed out on it, you got a second chance here to get it from Kino Lorber. A nice 4K restoration. I would love to hear how that one looks. Let me know in the comments if you've seen. I guess no one's seen it yet, but if you plan on getting that 4K release, let me know. All right, let us pop it back up. Okay, good. Thank you for that, Jay Hutch. He says Alan Brooks wrote and directed Defending Your Life. Okay, cool. So I've seen one film directed by him. Glad Criterion's getting a couple other of those. Michael Smith says Albert Brooks is best in Lost in America and Modern Romance, both hilarious if you vibe with his humor. Internet user, all the Brooks Criterion covers are the original posters. Okay. That's cool. Oh, interesting. Real Life is the original poster. That's a pretty cool poster. I like it quite a bit. People talking about Albert Brooks. Posty says he's great in broadcast news. Carrie Witt says, my favorite Albert Brooks film is actually Out of Sight by Soderbergh, even with the limited screen time because of Clooney and Lopez. Ethan Edwards says, I haven't seen That Mother since That Mother. I like how he clarified. There's lots of mothers. I can think of 2 other ones already. Since the 90s, but I remember liking it a lot. Cool. Magnitude Rev. Thanks. Thank you. He says, oof, buddy, never trust those out-of-print releases. Yeah, I'm a sucker for those out of prints. That was when I was just getting into Criterion a couple of years ago. So I was very young and naive, and I hadn't bit the 4K bullet as many times as I have since. So I've learned my lesson, I think. I held out. I didn't buy The Last Emperor, so I waited on that one. So I'm learning. I'm slowly learning. It's a journey. It's a journey. You gotta start a YouTube channel to figure it out. Bailey Walsh, last year at Marienbad, it's gorgeous. I've had the OOP Criterion for years, but it's not in the greatest condition. Definitely can tell I got it used. Mine's in pretty good condition. And also, I got that, if you want to watch that video, I think it's called, like, I bought a blind box. No, it's not. I can't remember what it's called, but I got a big collection. I think that is what it's called. Find it. If you want to find it on the YouTube channel, I got a box, like a collection from one seller on eBay, and it was like 6 different Alain Resnais films, all 6 of them from Criterion. Like, he has 3 Criterion films. He's got some other boutique labels in there, Kino Lorber, and was it Eureka? I can't remember what Mellow is from. It's back there in the pink section. But yeah, several different films from the same director. I got a bundle, like a big box, and it was actually really cheap per film once you divided it up. So I got a good deal on it. I didn't overpay for it. Francis D, what is the biggest difference from your expectation and your reaction from a movie, whether positive or negative? Oh my goodness, right in the middle of a stream asking me a tough question like that. That's a great question that I would need to think about. Like, okay, so you're asking either way, like film, maybe that I loved or that I was expecting to love and hated, or maybe that I wasn't expecting much from and really loved. I will say this, just because it's fresh on my mind. I just rewatched Puss in Boots: The Last Wish last night with my kids. Or not last night, Friday night with my kids. Why have I not watched that since the theater? That is so good. And I was kind of leery of watching it again because I liked it so much in the theater, and I was nervous. I was like, there's no way that can live up on a second viewing. I was worried it was going to kind of drop on a second viewing, but it doesn't. It's still great. So good. Nobody could have predicted that a Puss in Boots movie would be one of the best animated movies we've ever gotten. The animation is incredible. Just the filmmaking is incredible. The story is great. The characters are so, like, that character, the dog character, could have been so annoying. And the fact that they pulled it off, and not only pulled it off, but he's like integral to the story and integral to all of the characters' individual arcs. It's amazing. It's so good. You've already heard it a million times at this point, but I wasn't expecting anything when I went to see it for the first time. And holy crap, it's so good. It's really, really good. And it holds up. I'm here to say it holds up. Yes, Magnitude Rev, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish is excellent. It is. And if you haven't seen it, people think you're crazy. If they haven't seen it, they don't believe you. But it's surprisingly good. I don't want to build it up too much, but man, it's really good. Let's get back to some new releases. Oh, Dan's Dan. Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, a masterpiece. Really looking forward to The Wild Robot 2. Yes. And it's one of those things, it's one of those movies that like makes you wish you lived in an alternate universe where we had like 4 Puss in Boots movies made by those people and like 1 Shrek movie. Nothing against Shrek, but like it's so much better than Shrek. Especially as the series goes on. All right, let's get back here and pop up this next release from Bleeding Skull, another partner label from Vincent, I believe. This is Way Bad Stone, getting a slipcover and original pressing. A fantasy adventure movie from 1991, which there's that doesn't, you don't hear that very often. Let's look at the slipcover on this. Not rated, contains graphic violence and sexual situations. I'm not convinced that this is not an adult film based on that cover and that warning, but it's from 1991, and there's 2 movies in here. There's a bonus movie called Ionopsis. This is why we're just breezing through these Vincent releases, because I don't know anything about these. Nobody does. That's what Vincent does. They put out these super obscure releases just to get them out there. They're cheap, and they can put them out. IFC Films, a little bit more of a kind of prestige, a little bit more prestige in this partner label. They're putting out Bastards from 2013, a newer release, kind of a romantic drama film, a little bit more serious here, starring Vincent Lindon and Chiara Mastroianni, filmed by Claire Denis. So there you go. That's coming out from IFC Films, 2013, a newer film there. Another partner label from Vincent. Then we've got High Crime getting a 4K release from Blue Underground. I think I saw Heath cover this on his channel. Look at this. Look at this. This looks great, except for those logos at the bottom. What is up with that? Those are like shoved right up against the bottom. The Blue Underground logo. No offense. No offense. It's a smaller label, but that Blue Underground logo makes me feel like I'm getting an icy or some kind of frozen treat. But there you go. I did see this on Heath's channel because he got it comes with a soundtrack. It comes with a Blu-ray, 4K, and CD, which is great. I love when they do that. I wish more releases would do that. 1973 crime thriller from Blue Underground. That's coming out as well. Then we've got Interrogation getting a release from Vincent, slipcover and original pressing, a 1989 crime thriller. So a little bit of a theme there coming on with the crime thrillers coming out. We've talked about several of those. Then getting out of Vincent altogether, going back to Shout Factory with a little bit more popular releases that people have actually heard of. This is Pee-wee's Playhouse, the complete series. This is the cool thing about Shout Factory. I think more than any other boutique label, Shout Factory puts out animated series, television series. They do it a lot. I know some other labels do it as well, but Shout Factory does it quite a bit, especially with the family-friendly stuff. I know they put out Shaun the Sheep last year, which I grabbed for my kids. It's a great show, series of shorts, and this is Pee-wee's Playhouse, the complete series, getting a Blu-ray release, which looks really cool. Past my time, or I guess I was past its time. I did not grow up with Pee-wee's Playhouse, a little bit before my time, but I know a lot of people a little bit older than me that are going to love that release and love that it's getting a Blu-ray release. And there you go. No bells and whistles, no slipcover or anything, but at least it's getting a nice Blu-ray release. All 5 seasons from 1986 to 1990. $100 retail price. You can get it from Amazon right now for $79. Not a bad deal. Not a bad deal. And then next up, we are getting actually, I can't speak. I haven't seen them yet. But we're getting a couple more Cinematograph releases, which I've been very into on this channel. I've done several videos about them now, and I just caught up. I've seen all 4 of the first Cinematograph releases. I will say going south, going south a little bit with the quality of the films. I really did not like going south, but number 4, Touch, I actually really did enjoy. Paul Schrader film, had a good time with that one. Very interesting stuff there. So I was a little nervous there. Going south almost made me consider not collecting Cinematograph anymore. But I think I'm going to keep going with it because these other announcements and releases that they're doing in the future seem pretty cool. The next one we got here is Thieves Like Us, which is an Altman film, and it's getting a 4K restoration, which is super cool because there was a Radiance release for Thieves Like Us, and I missed it. It was out of print. I missed the window on the limited edition, so I was a little bummed, and I thought I was going to have to buy that secondhand, but here we go. We've got a release from Cinematograph. Thieves Like Us. Love the little logo down there with the gun and the smoke. This is an Altman film starring Shelley Duvall, the late, great Shelley Duvall. I'm very excited to watch this one. Like I said, I was already interested in this film before they announced it, and now it's coming out with a lovely Cinematograph release with their beautiful Digibooks that they've been putting out lately. This is a 1974 film. I think it takes place in Mississippi about some bank robbers. Seems interesting. I don't know if it's his best or one of his best, but I am interested to check that one out. Again, those are limited to 6,000 copies, and you can get those on Vinegar Syndrome's website. And they also released another one, 2 in one day. These things are flying out. That's why it's been hard for me to continue collecting the Cinematograph releases. I was all like bright-eyed and bushy-tailed a few months ago, and I was like, I'm going to collect all these releases. And then they keep putting them out like every month. Like they're putting out so many of them. We've already got 5 and 6 here, and then they've already announced 2 more coming out soon. The other one here is another 70s film, 1977, called Joyride, and this one's limited to 4,000, so they're bringing the number down on some of these. It's just a Blu-ray. It's not a 4K. But this sounds fun too. This is 3 teenagers leave Los Angeles and drive north to Alaska and wind up robbing a pipeline. It's a lot of bank robbers this week, and take one of the employees hostage. So another crime film, teenager road film. Sounds interesting. I have not heard of this one before, like the other one, but I'm excited to check it out. Joseph Rubin's the director on that one, or Joseph Rubin. Look at that. there you go. You've got 2 brand new Cinematograph releases. I've got to get caught up on those. Both 70s films this week. So that's exciting. All kinds of stuff we're talking about this week. Let me talk to you guys in the chat a little bit because I've thrown a lot at you. And we've got a lot to get through still. So thank you guys for staying tuned in. I'm going to try to talk to you guys as much as I can. Dan's Den. I didn't grow up in the era with Pee-wee's Playhouse was popular, but I remember watching reruns on Fox a few times. Oh, okay. Nothing but wrestling. Hey, I haven't seen you in the chat before. Welcome to the stream. I'm a recent subscriber and enjoy your content. Thank you so much. Do you have an all-time franchise and what boutique label would you like to see do a box set of it? Ooh. All-time franchise. That's another, man, you guys with these stumpers tonight. These are good questions. All-time franchise. I'm sure there's something good that I could think of. I think I would have to go with original Lord of the Rings. If I'm going, it's not really a franchise though. It's just I guess technically it is a franchise now. It used to be just a trilogy. I don't know. I'm gonna have to think about that. That's a really good question. All-time franchise. I will say, and this is interesting, I'm not a huge franchise person, kind of the same reason I'm not a huge TV guy. Like I so many times I'll get really into a first season and then the second season won't be as good. The quality drops off and then I'm out. I jump out. Like I can't, something about, I can't, I'm not good at sticking around. My commitment level when it comes to television and franchises is not very high. I promise I'm better in relationships, but when it comes to physical media or movies in general, I kind of jump ship pretty early. Like most franchises, I can't think of a franchise that really sticks it all the way through. So I'm gonna have to think about that one for a little bit. Obviously, I would love, if Warner Brothers would ever sell Lord of the Rings to any boutique label, that would be amazing. I'd love like an Arrow box set of Lord of the Rings would be so cool. It's never gonna happen. Warner Brothers isn't gonna do that. Although they did recently license the Clash of the Titans films. Very, very different, obviously, but it is setting a precedent that they're licensing out some stuff. But yeah, I don't know, a franchise. I'm trying to think of one where I really like every single release from a certain franchise. I'm sure there's something. I'm sure I'll think of it. But yeah, Lord of the Rings is the first thing that came to me. I love that. That trilogy is obviously amazing, but everyone knows that. Everyone's seen those. But that's a great question, and welcome, new subscriber. Nothing but wrestling. Thanks for joining us. Patrick Craig. Oof. Glad I didn't get Going South. Yeah, I don't know. It seems to be okay on Letterboxd. Like, some people are liking it, but I thought it was just a mess. Not great editing. I'm sorry. I love you, Jack Nicholson, but I didn't think the directing or the editing was great. And I thought it was such a waste of such a good cast. That's such a great cast in there. It almost killed my enthusiasm about the whole line, but I'm glad I like Touch because it kind of saved it a little bit. Internet user, I hope the other Robert Altman film from 1974 gets a 4K at some point. California Split. They've been loving Altman lately. Like I said, Radiance has been putting out several of his films. We just got the 4K of McCabe and Mrs. Miller from Criterion. I almost just spilled my water. That would have been bad. But yeah, Altman's been getting plenty of love from boutique labels. Still holding out for that Arrow limited edition release of Popeye. You never know. Connor Nielsen says, I think Pee-wee's Playhouse was to Gen X what SpongeBob SquarePants was to late Gen Y, early Gen Z. Interesting comparison. I hadn't thought about that. Jeffrey Patron, I just saw Thieves Like Us on 35mm and it was incredible. I can't wait. Jeffrey was telling me about this. They were doing a double feature at his local theater from the Vinegar Syndrome releases. For 2 of the Cinematograph releases, they were doing Thieves Like Us and Embrace something. What's it? My Embrace? Warmth? I can't remember what the other one was. But yeah, they were showing both of those. Last Embrace, that's what it was called. So very, very jealous that he got to see those in 35mm at the theater on the big screen. Bailey Walsh says, the Thieves Like Us Cinematograph release is tempting, even though I ordered the Radiance release. I've been wanting to rewatch it since Shelley's passing, so glad it's gotten a new release overall. Yeah, same. You always got to gauge which release to get. Some of them, these boutique labels are all releasing them at the same time. Like we've had so much news about Paris, Texas coming out from Criterion soon, getting a 4K release, and all the other labels are dropping their 4K releases just before. I think Eureka just announced a release, and some other French boutique label just dropped a crazy release that someone was sending me earlier. So yeah, it's tough. It's a tough. I mean, I'm glad that all these boutique labels are cropping up and we're getting all these releases, but it kind of muddies the water a little bit when you're trying to figure out which release you want to get. You got to do a lot of research. And that's why I do this show every single week, not just for you guys, but for myself, so I can keep up with what's coming out and stay up to date. Anyway, speaking of that, let's get back to these new releases because my voice is slowly leaving me. I'm going to have to switch over to my lower key radio voice here pretty soon because the yelling, the projecting, is not going to last much longer. We're still about halfway through here, so let's steamroll through the rest of these releases. We've got a animated DC film, The Watchmen Chapter 1. I didn't know this was happening. Apparently they did an animated Watchmen film, 4K and digital release. There's the cover on that one. I never got into the DC animated movies, but that's what they look like. They always have different artwork on the front that's a little deceiving. That looks nothing like the animation once you get the movie, but there you go. You know what you're getting at this point. They've been putting those out for years and years and years. Next up, we've got Focus. I remember this movie. This was Margot Robbie. This is where that famous gif of Margot Robbie and Will Smith comes from their tour, their marketing tour. This is it, Focus. Now, if I remember correct, this is from Warner Brothers. I thought I remember this being from Focus Features. Anyway, Focus, getting a 4K Blu-ray combo pack. I never saw this one, but if you loved it from 2015, it's getting a 4K release, a little crime romance with Margot Robbie and Will Smith. The Watchers is getting a 4K release. I feel like every single thing we've talked about almost has been a 4K tonight. Warner Brothers also releasing a 4K of The Watchers on 4K and digital. This is a 2024 film, brand new. I didn't even hear about it. Apparently there's just a million horror movies coming out this week. The poster looks cool. The artwork looks pretty cool. This is produced by M. Night Shyamalan, but Interesting. Written and directed for the screen and directed by Ishana Night Shyamalan. So, is this a Nepo Baby release? I don't know. I actually didn't hear about this at all. The Watchers. So we got Watchmen coming out this week. We got Watchers coming out this week. And then we're going to get into a few Kino Cult releases. I mentioned this earlier. Lorber has a new line called Kino Cult. I don't know how new it is, but they have been releasing several of them recently. I'll pull up the overview here. This is Joan Collins in H.G. Wells' Empire of the Ants from Kino Cult, spine number 11. So it is pretty new. For they shall inherit the earth, and sooner than you think. Ants. So I joked a couple weeks ago about starting to collect ant movies because Them is one of my favorite sci-fi horror films from the 50s, like that atomic age horror sci-fi stuff, and it's amazing. If you haven't seen Them, check it out. Giant, huge prosthetic puppet ants look incredible. Love that movie. A lot of fun. This one probably not as good, but it is an H.G. Wells kind of pseudo adaptation, it looks like, from from Kino Cult. Empire of the Ants. There's the slipcover and the artwork underneath. Just a Blu-ray on this one, but you got alternate artwork there as well. I like this promo photo. I wish boutique labels would all do this. This is nice. I get everything in one image here. And then we've got another one here from the same line, Kino Cult. It is Frogs. So we've got ants and we've got frogs. We're going through the plagues. Ray Milland and Sam Elliott. Oh, Sam Elliott's in this one. Today, the pond. Tomorrow, the world. It's the day that nature strikes back. You know what these remind me of? These remind me of another H.G. Wells pseudo-adaptation that I watched on TCM. Probably the worst film I've ever seen on TCM. Was it Food of the Gods? Is that what it's called? I watched Food of the Gods because I actually really like H.G. Wells. He's one of my favorite authors. I love his, and I think that's just based on a short story or like a little small part of one of his movies. Very loosely based. Food of the Gods. It's basically just like animals get really giant. So it's just like these giant rats chasing people. And it looks just like these. It looks like frogs and ants, but with rats. So there you go. You've got Kino Cult number 12, another horror sci-fi thriller. These look fun, though. I'm actually interested in these. They're only $18 right now. I'm tempted to buy these and watch them in Spooktober this year, later for October, because these could be fun. These could be a fun watch, especially with a group of friends. Next up, we've got Double Jeopardy getting a 4K release from Paramount Pictures. All three formats on this one, combo pack, and this got a slipcover right there. Tommy Lee Jones and Ashley Judd. Double Jeopardy, the 25th anniversary edition from 1999. Another crime thriller mystery. So this seems to be the theme. We've got a theme gathering here, and it's mostly crime thrillers coming out this week. As long as you don't count the Vinegar Syndrome weird releases. But that's another one coming out. And then another newer release from Utopia Distribution, which is a Vincent partner label. Femme from 2023. Another thriller getting a Blu-ray release here. Very simple. Slipcover on that one, Femme. I don't know if that's I'm assuming, I guess I shouldn't assume it's a French film. Maybe it's just English. Maybe that's just the title of it. But here you go. If you loved Femme from last year, that's finally getting a release. And then we've got The Bitter Ash, another Canadian International Pictures release, which is the partner label for Vincent that I started collecting last year. They put out some really cool, more obscure, like lesser known Canadian films. And this one is called The Bitter Ash, just a straight up drama. No genre here, just straight up genre film by Larry Kent. Of course, I've not heard of it because I'm not familiar with my Canadian films, but a 1963 drama sounds interesting. Their stuff has always been a little bit different from the rest of the Vincent stuff, so that's exciting. And here it is. Look at this. The Food of the Gods, Kino Cult number 10. There it is. Okay, well, there it is. Another one that fits perfectly. This is what I'm talking about. The giant rats. See? There they are. Fits perfectly with those other two. So we got rats, we got ants, and we got frogs. A nice little pseudo trilogy from Kino Cult. Those actually look like a lot of fun. Like I said, I didn't love this movie, but there was some fun stuff with big prosthetic, like crazy rats, and other stuff like animal. There's other animals. It's basically just something gets leaked in the ground, and then all the animals in the ground just kind of grow and just start murdering people, and the star's like a football player or something. It was really silly, really goofy. I don't know if I would quite pay $24 or even $18 for it, but it was fun. It was a fun late night TCM watch back in the day. Maybe someday I'll pick that up, especially if I get all three of them. That could be a fun double feature or triple feature. So Food of the Gods coming out, all three of them right there. Let me know if you've seen that one or any of the, actually let me know if you've seen the other two because I've already seen that one. I haven't seen the other two, but that's crazy that that's actually coming out. It looks like they got the same artist for all three of those. They look great. Actually, no, I think those might be the original posters on those because that's the Food of the Gods original poster for sure. Let's see what people think about these three. Watchers is awful, says Magnitude Rev. Okay, good to know. I'll steer clear from that one. And yes, it is a Nepo Baby release. Oh, that's a bummer. That's a bummer to see. Dan's Den, Empire of the Ants is nonsensical fun. Good. That's the best I can hope for with that. Haven of Horror popping in. That's my friend John. Good to see you, man. Dan's Den, it has nothing to do with the H.G. Wells source material it's based off of. Yeah, that's the same thing I had with Food of the Gods. Basically just using the name to sell it, but nothing to do with it. Dan's Den says Frogs has Sam Elliott without a mustache. Scandalous. I don't even know if I want to see that. That's more horrifying than the Frogs. Baloney, there should be a database website for movie lovers to submit release requests. The Jolson Story and Jolson Sings Again need a Blu-ray release upgrade. Great films, in my opinion. Yeah, that's a good idea. I know I have a ton. Basically, all we can do is just release videos that say we want these on Blu-ray because there's a lot of things I'd like that don't have Blu-ray releases yet. Carrie Witt says Frogs. I love Frogs. I remember seeing it on Late Night Owl TV when I was little. It is gloriously bad but fun, right down to a young Sam Elliott in a midriff cut football jersey. Is it about a football player too? Why are they all about football players? It's like someone, are they made by the same person? I feel like the creator of those films just hated football players and wanted to see them eaten by all kinds of different animals. That's, what a weird coincidence. Jay Hutch, finally a movie that taps into our collective frogs fear. Do you have a fear of frogs? I've never heard of that. I've heard of snakes fear, but I never heard of frogs. Dan's Den says Food of the Gods is from the same director as Empire of the Ants. There we go. Bert Gordon, Mr. Big. This is what I'm talking about with going off the rails. This is so weird. But it sounds fun. Like I said, it'd be a fun triple feature. Ethan Edwards says Frogs is a really fun, bad movie. That and The Thing with Two Heads. Okay, yeah, that's kind of what I had with. See, I feel like if I would have watched Food of the Gods with somebody else, it would have been more fun, but I was watching it by myself, so it's just kind of like, it's weird. But yeah, watching it with someone else would probably be a lot more fun, especially a group of friends. Connor Nielsen says, LOL, speak of the devil and it shall appear. Yeah, there it is. I don't think I can make that happen again, but that was pretty funny. Carrie Witt, a good double feature might be Food of the Gods and Ben. LOL. As a Canadian, I feel comfortable saying that any film not directed by David Cronenberg can be classified as a lesser-known Canadian film. Oh, that's sad. I've seen some really great Canadian films recently, and I'd love to see more. Shout out to my Uncle Antoine in the Criterion Collection. We need a Blu-ray release of that because we still just have the DVD, but it's great. I hope I can watch that again this Christmas because it's a really good, subtle Christmas movie. It's great. Francis D, did you see Five Graves to Cairo from Billy Wilder? One of the favorite movie of Tarantino. I found it a bit boring. One of the favorite movies of Tarantino, I found it a bit boring. No, I haven't seen it. Sorry you didn't like it, though. Maybe I'll get to that one eventually. Jeffrey Patron says, that would track Food of the Gods as a TCM underground programming thing. Not sure if you'd remember, but does that ring a bell? I think so. I think it was one of those, like later night, lower budget movies. And I think they knew kind of what they were doing when they were showing it. But it was interesting. It was weird. There's that Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes Blu-ray release that I was looking for earlier. It is $40.99 is the list price for the Blu-ray digital. Just Blu-ray and digital. Disney Buena Vista is losing their minds. They're trying to get $40 just for a Blu-ray. Don't support that. I want to support the film, but I don't support these outrageous prices from Disney. That's ludicrous. That's crazy. At least it has a slipcover, I guess. Not a very good slipcover, but the 4K looks better. But the prices are insane. I'm going to stick with my boutiques because that's crazy. Lost Profit from VHS Hitfest. Another Vincent label. Getting a, interesting, 1992 surreal horror film. Haven't heard of this one, but it is a very, looks like a low-budget horror film from 1992. 2 different cuts on Lost Profit from VHS Hitfest. Then we've got Castle of Blood getting a 4K release, our first Severin film that we've talked about this evening. There it is. There's the front. That looks fun. I like that era of film poster. Severin dropping the 4K releases. 4K Blu-ray combo pack. Straight up horror film from 1964. This is my era of horror. I love this era of horror. 50s and 60s stuff. Very cool. I'm planning to tackle some of this stuff this year in October. So, might have to look into that one. Castle of Blood. $50 from Severin. I am a broken record this evening. That's pretty steep. Then we've got something completely different from Radiance. Radiance is always doing their own thing over here. Tokajiro from Radiance Films. This is a straight-up action historical adventure film from Japan. Love these releases that Radiance has been doing. Limited to 3,000 copies on their limited editions. That's why I missed the Thieves Like Us one. Very limited on these, but love the films they've been putting out. Made my first Radiance film haul a couple weeks ago, and love the things I've seen from them. They look like they put out great restorations from films that nobody else is really tackling. So glad they're doing that. Keep up the good work, Radiance. Then we've got Squirm, another Kino Cult release. Kino Cult is dropping so much this week. This looks crazy too. What the heck is this? Squirm. Is this about worms attacking people? This was the night of the Crawling Terror. There you go. Squirm from 1976. So Kino Cult putting out a lot of 70s, lower budget, goofy horror films. This is from Jeff Lieberman. Let me know if you've seen Squirm. That one looks fun as well. Nice short 92 minutes, in and out. Watch the worms eat people and eat your popcorn and go home. That's all you need, really. I'm going to drink some water because my voice is leaving me. I spent the last hour before I started streaming this trying to record a video, and my entire technology was against me. Like, my mic kept cutting out randomly, which I didn't know until after I filmed the whole thing and got it in the editing software, and I noticed like a bunch of gaps, which is really annoying. Then I'm trying to re-record parts and fill in those gaps, and my streaming recording software is glitching out on me. So everything was going wrong. So I don't know if that video is going to get finished tonight, but I'm going to try to get it up for you soon. And just got an hour of my voice, wasted voice, because I don't even know if that video is going to turn out. But hopefully my voice will last a little bit longer because we got several more things to talk about here, including Kingdom of the Spiders. I need to stop putting a fine point on these Kino Cult releases because they just keep coming. And I feel like this is a wasted opportunity on a box set. I feel like all these could have been a great box set. 70s animal horror. Like, we got frogs, rats, ants, and now we've got Kingdom of the Spiders. Spy number 14 from starring William Shatner, A Living Crawling Hell on Earth. This guy over here, William Shatner, is giving it his all here. That's a cool cover, though. I like that. Is this from the same director? No, this is from John Bud Cardos. This is crazy. So another 70s animal horror film, not based on an H.G. Wells book, but looks like a lot of fun as well. I feel like that should have been a box set. That could have been great. All 5 of them in one box set. We'll see if we have any more Kino Cult coming, but that's all I see for now. Then we've got the Alaskings, the complete series. Again, we don't usually cover TV on this show, but I'll say it real quickly because it is a Warner Archive Collection title, and I like to cover their stuff. They put out great stuff. Pretty much just as prolific as Kino Lorber almost. They put out stuff every single week, and we always cover it. This is a complete series starring Roger Moore, The Alaskans, which is a Western adventure show. I've not heard of it, but it ran from 1959 to 1960, and you can get the whole show for $70. For some reason, the list price is $70, but right now you can get it on Amazon for $78. So that one went up for some reason. I don't know what's going on there. Hopefully that's just a bug. And then way down here, almost at the bottom, we've got Sony Pictures' brand new 2024 release of Garfield, which is so sad that this beloved character has been pushed all the way to the bottom with this film. I've heard nothing but bad things about it, starring Chris Pratt, the voice of all of your childhood animated heroes, and then Samuel L. Jackson still doing stuff, still doing things. I don't think I'm going to see this Garfield movie. I haven't heard anything good about it, but maybe if you like it, let me know in the chat or in the comments, and try to change my mind. I don't know. I've heard from some trusted sources that it's not great, and the trailer didn't look great, so I skipped it in the theater. I didn't go see it. Next, we've got Nuts from Cartoona, another Vincent partner label. This is a 2016 documentary about the unbelievable true story of John Romulus Brinkley, a Kansas doctor who in 1917 discovered that he could cure impotence by transplanting goat testicles into men. As you do, as most documentaries. That is the craziest premise for a documentary I've ever heard. Goat testicles transplanted into men, curing impotence with a wonderful slipcover. I'm not a big documentary guy, but that one sounds interesting. I've not heard of Cartoona. I don't know exactly what that label puts out, but if it's anything like that, sounds interesting. Sounds interesting to me. Let me know your thoughts on goat testicles. I'm going to jump back to you guys, throw it over to you in the chat. We've gone from squirm to goat testes. All right. We're the last week of the month is nuts, I tell you. It just keeps going. Internet user Apes together expensive. Exactly. You pay for those apes. Those apes cost you. Posty, Disney must be doing some crazy dynamic pricing stuff or something. Yeah, I don't know what they're doing. They consistently put out the worst releases, and they expect us to pay the highest prices. Roachman, or Roachman, maybe he's a crime fighter. Arrow 50% at Barnes & Noble. Yes, we talked about that earlier. Thanks again for the reminder for people joining late. We've got a pretty big crowd tonight. It always seems to happen when we go off the rails. I don't know why. I don't know what's going on. We're talking about crazy prices, killer monsters, and again, those goat reproductive organs. Carrie Witt, I don't think there is any scenario where a retail outlet is pricing the apes at the MSRP. Good. They shouldn't be. That's outrageous. Magnitude Radiance is a great label. I agree. Carrie Witt says Squirm is about worms. Good to know. Love to have you guys here. Carrie Witt, yep, DJ, you nailed it. A Kino Cult box is a no-brainer. Thank you. I'm just a box set guy. I always want a box set if I can. As you've seen from the last couple videos I've been doing on this channel, I've been talking about box sets a lot. But yeah, that'd be cool. It'd be so much more enticing to get a big box set of all these films, I think. And I can go through it in October with a bunch of friends. I think that'd be cool. Internet user, a lot of animals getting big and attacking people. I mean, it sells. That's what sells. What else do you want? Dan's Den, The Alaskans was made in that brief period where Roger Moore was trying to make it into Hollywood and failing. He went back to the UK and broke out with The Saint. Interesting. Always happy to get some good facts from Dan's Den. He's always got a great breadth of film knowledge that he shares with us in these streams. Another reason I like to do these. Billoni, these boutique labels should be commended for bringing back classic films that fell through the cracks of time. Without their efforts, we would have never had or heard of some of them. Exactly. That's why I like to support the boutique labels when I can. I've almost completely shifted my collecting habits to just boutique labels at this point. I buy very few studio stuff at this point, and I'm happy. I really appreciate the work that goes into the boutique labels. I want to support those small guys, and I don't want to pay $60 to Disney at this point because that's ridiculous. Magnitude, I am not a slipcover guy, but I want that goat testicle slipcover. Don't we all? Don't we all? I mean, look at it. I can show it again. I'll let you look at it yourself. But it's great. It's beautiful. It's selling even non-slipcover guys. Carrie Witt transplanting goat testicles. Just another Saturday night. Internet user sounds like we need to revive Dr. Brinkley. Jeff Petrone, it's a fascinating story, and I imagine that doc might be as well in Renuts. What? I love that this is going to take over the chat. I assume that was going to happen. Connor Nielsen, bro, one time I ate goat testicles and I was feeling virile. Very virile. I don't know if it works that way, Connor. I think you actually have to have them implanted in, but maybe. I mean, why not? Give it a try. Less expensive. That is not the surgery that I'm having this Friday that I mentioned earlier. I promise. I'm not getting ghost testicles. That's even better. That's a better... I just made a better premise for a documentary. Ghost testicles transplanted. What kind of powers would that give you? Jay Hutch talks too much. Thanks to that doctor, many men became potent, but also gained an appetite for tin cans. Exactly. Gus Amaretti popping in with a $5 super chat. Thank you so much, Gus, for always reminding me. I never remind you guys, but if you do want to donate to the channel, obviously that option is open to you. Really appreciate all the donations. It helps support the channel. It helps me buy more boutique or Criterion or Blu-ray releases so I can show off on this channel and share with you guys. Really appreciate it. And Gus is one of my prime subscribers. Always helped me out. Really appreciate that. He says, I've always wanted to get goat... Of course, this is what prompted him to make a super chat. I've always wanted to get goat testicle implants. Must be an LA trend now. Thank you so much, Gus. Really appreciate the donation, especially when it's just for a joke. Just for a joke. It means a lot. I really appreciate it. Thanks again. Swifty Police. Did you know that Them was based on a real-life incident that happened in Yonkers in the late 40s? Can never tell if Swifty Police is being serious or not. I assume not, because usually they're just harping on my mention of Taylor Swift, which hasn't happened at all tonight. We've mentioned everything from squirmy worms to goat testicles, but we have not mentioned We've not mentioned Taylor Swift. So I think I'm good on the Swifty Police front. But thank you. Good to know you're always here. Let's pop back to the chat. See if we can get this back on the rails here. We've got A Man Called Tiger coming out, another 70s film. Eureka Entertainment. I got the email from Eureka earlier this week that this was coming out. Another action Chinese Hong Kong action film called A Man Called Tiger with two different cuts. Eureka's been really going all in on the Hong Kong action films lately. I've been seeing a lot of them coming out from them. There you go. There's the cover on that one. Looks great. Looks up to par with the rest of their Chinese releases lately. Eureka Classics. Eureka Classics not getting hung up on the animal horror, but instead sticking to their guns and releasing some martial arts films. We've got ETR Media releasing Nintendo Quest, the most unofficial and unauthorized Nintendo documentary ever. So a different front of the documentary releases. This looks... I could not picture a more appropriate cover to go with that title. It looks very unofficial and very unauthorized. But there you go. Good on you for getting a documentary made. It's not easy, and you got a nice release from a nice boutique label. So pretty cool. 2015 documentary about Nintendo. It's no nuts, but it seems pretty cool. Then from Arrow Video, we've got a limited edition 4K release of The Woman 4K. 2 movies in here. It's The Woman and Offspring. Look at the overview there. You got some art cards and some artwork underneath there and a slipcover. Haven't heard of The Woman, but it is a 2009 film, and Offspring from 2011. There you go. Some interesting horror films from Jack Ketchum and Lucky McGee. Lucky McGee? That's his name? Wow. Well, there you go. You learn something new every day. Lucky McGee's putting out his Offspring again. We cannot get off that subject tonight. But we've got Words and Music from 1948. Warner Archive, please save us. Steer the ship back again with your musicals from 1948. Look at all these people. Holy crap, look at this cast. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people. Mickey Rooney's in this. Gene Kelly is in this. Lovely MGM Technicolor musical from 1948. That looks like a lot of fun. Musical comedy. Also a biopic of songwriters Richard Rodgers and Lorenz Hart. Interesting, Lorenz Hart. Haven't seen that one either, but I love me some Warner Archive musicals. They've got another one coming out this week, same time. It is called Three Little Words from 1950, starring Fred Astaire and Red Skelton. Three Little Words, a wonderful musical. What a great catchphrase, or what a great tagline, a wonderful musical. That's all it took, apparently, in 1950 to sell something. And Fred Astaire. You got Fred Astaire, you don't need anything else. He sells movies. The story of the successful Tin Pan Alley songwriting team of Bert Kalmer and Harry Ruby is told loosely and lightheartedly. So 2 biopic musicals from 1948 and 1950, both coming out from Warner Archive this week. So those look very fun, and I'd love to check those out at some point. I'm a little musicaled out still because we did Musical May a couple months ago, but eventually I'll get back to it. Marcel Pagnol, My Father's Glory, My Mother's Castle, a 2-pack of Blu-rays from Film Movement, coming out from Vinegar Syndrome, a partner label. Nice little slipcover on there. You got your 2 movies, 2-film collection. Directed by the same person and written by, it's interesting that they're listed by the writer and not the director. I wonder if those are based on novels, but they're biopics, coming-of-age drama films from France. Interesting. Another thing I haven't heard of, but I have heard of Film Movement, and I've seen some of the releases they put out. Seems like they do good stuff. And then we've got Kino Lorber coming back again with a single Blu-ray release from 1976 of a war drama called Aces High. Aces High, there we go, starring Christopher Plummer. Very different. Kino Lorber putting out so much stuff this week, from Kino Cult to Kino Classics, and now Kino Lorber themselves putting out some Blu-ray releases. Tons of stuff. Someone at the beginning said that they were tuning in to see what they should buy this week. I have no idea what you should buy this week because there's so much stuff coming out this week. This is a packed week. Tons and tons of stuff coming out. I guess I'll open it up to you guys at the end here in the comments and in the chat. Let me know which ones you're most excited about, because it's going to be hard to narrow down this week because there's so much stuff coming out. We've got Door to Door Maniac from Film Masters. We've talked about Film Masters a lot on this channel, on this show. New 4K transfer from original 35mm archival elements. It's a lower budget 4K, a lower budget boutique release. Film Masters, and I've heard of this film because this again was in Heath's video over on Serial at Midnight, starring Johnny Cash, which is exciting. Door to Door Maniac, Right Hand of the Devil. So an ultra rare bonus film in there called Right Hand of the Devil. That's something cool that this Film Masters label does. They always, not always, but a lot of the time they include like a bonus film in there, and the prices are great. You can get both for $20 right now on Amazon. So very cool. Some very, very unknown films there from 1961. Check those out if you're into the Film Masters line. Very early on in their run. I think they only have a few releases so far, so that's fun. We've got Decalogue from Vincent releasing Mami Wata, Mami Wata, a Blu-ray release, a fantasy thriller drama, a French film. Interesting. Look at that. That's coming out. Another Vincent partner label release. Then we've got The Proud Rebel from Real Vault Inc., which is a label I've never even heard of before. But there it is. The Proud Rebel, starring Alan Ladd and Olivia de Havilland from 1958. Whew, we're really getting down to the wire here. I'm going to speed through the rest of these. Go Down Death from Factory 25 is getting a release. Limited slipcover and original pressing. Then we've got She's Allergic to Cats from Yellow Veil Pictures, which is another partner label with Vincent that we haven't talked about yet. But they release newer stuff normally, more modern stuff. So this is 2016, a horror rom-com, horror romance comedy film. Then we've got this Dracula 4K Steelbook. We talked about that last week, so I'm not going to repeat it. For some reason, those Steelbooks got bumped back to this week. Same thing with the Beetlejuice Steelbook that we talked about last week. We've got a couple other alternate releases of stuff we've already talked about, but I think that's going to do it for this week. We've covered it all. We finished, and my voice is just about tapped, so I'm going to turn it over to you guys in the chat. Any last words you guys want to mention? We're right at an hour 10, so I'll talk to you for about 15 more minutes. Anything you want to talk about? Like I said, let me know your most anticipated releases or pickups from this week, because there's a bunch of stuff coming out. Even if you're not, buying the Vinegar Syndrome releases, there's still a lot of other stuff from other labels coming out, getting the last bit of releases in before the month is over, and then we'll have to move on to September next week. Like I said, provided my goat testicle implant goes well. Jeffrey E. Patron, Eureka puts out really grabbing stuff. They do. I would love to get more Eureka releases. That across the pond tax kind of adds up after a while, but I would love to get more of their stuff, especially some of those limited editions that they've put out in the past. Gus Amaretti, LOL DJ, did you watch Goat before your Friday surgery? I did not. I haven't. Well, I still have 4 days before. I could still figure it out. Let's see. What else do we have here in the chat? Dan, words and music. Sing ya darn stars sing. Yeah, it seems like they were kind of put up to that movie. I don't know how good it is. Maybe it's great, but that definitely seems like an under contract film. Bailey Walsh, I did not know about the Pagnol set. Added to my wish list. Great! I'm so glad when you guys hear about things that you didn't know about. That's why I do this show. It's a lot of fun. I like to stay up to date as well, but I love sharing. Someone in the comments last week, and please do this, guys. Let me know so I actually know that I'm doing some good with these crazy off-the-rail streams. But someone last week in the comments told me about something that I told them, a release that they didn't know about, that I made them aware of. And it makes me feel good to let you guys know about these things. So thank you, Bailey, for sharing that with me. Gus Amaretti, the Impotence Trilogy. The Woman, Goat, and The Offspring. Exactly. See? Box sets make everything better. Henry Bidencap, still here. My Father's Glory / My Mother's Castle are worth checking out. Thank you. Thank you for some actual recommendations this evening. Seems like most of the things we talked about were crazy off-the-wall stuff that nobody's heard of, but cool that Henry has seen both of those films and recommends them. Magnitude Rev, all I know is that my newest pickup this week is a Vinegar Syndrome 4-film box set, The Poetry of Li Chang-dong, that arrived legit a month early to my doorstep. It is supposed to release September 24th. Holy crap! That's amazing. I'm very happy for you. I'm glad you were able to get that so early. I've heard of that one. I don't know anything about that filmmaker, but let me know what you think of those films if you get around to seeing them. Let's see. Magnitude Rev also says, you ever have a pre-order that arrived absurdly early to your doorstep? No, I don't. I'm not big on the pre-orders. It's not something I've really gotten into. I should, because I have a channel and it would be beneficial to me to review stuff early and get those clicks. But I don't know. I'm not really a review new stuff channel. I don't have money for that. I'm mostly trying to hunt down old stuff and talk about different things. But probably be more advantageous to the channel to do that. But I don't know. I'm just not interested in it at the moment. An internet user, hey buddy, what's up? Sorry guys, my son just woke up and here he is. I'm gonna run him back upstairs. I will be right back. Don't go anywhere. Hey, I'm back. Sorry about that. He just had a nightmare and popped into my office, but he is good. So let's move on. What do we got here? Holy crap, the chat went crazy while I was gone. Internet user, so glad it's almost fall. That's a good point. We are trying to get in as many summer films as we can before it turns to fall. We just watched Rear Window last night, which everybody knows. Amazing film. One of my favorite Hitchcock films. Had a lot of fun watching that. Posty DJ, what's on your surgery recover watch list? That is a great question. And I actually just made a list on my Letterboxd about sick day movies. So I might watch some of those, or I might just catch up on stuff that I haven't seen yet. It's not a lot of recovery. I'm just getting a deviated septum corrected, so it's not like a major surgery. I don't think there's that much recovery. I'm just going to be sore for a couple days, so I don't think I need a whole watch list, but I'm sure I'll find some stuff to watch, at least at night, like that night maybe. Billoni, I will get Mother because I'm a big fan of Debbie Reynolds. I love all of her MGM musicals. Well, there you go. I didn't know. Interesting. So you're getting that Mother. I'm still getting confused on which Mother we're talking about because there's so many of them. Jeffrey Perchone, Words and Music is a functional but not exceptionally extraordinary outing from Norman Torog, who dialed that style in at MGM of good but not too great. That was an exceptionally well-written comment and insight. Thank you, Jeffrey, for that. Internet user, every movie can be improved with goat testicles, even Romer films. How dare you, sir, besmirch the great filmography of my favorite director? No, there will be no goat testicles inserted anywhere near any of my Romer favorites. That is blasphemous. Carrie Witt, Aces High was a film Malcolm McDowell said he did to gain back his sanity from Clockwork Orange a few years prior, 1971. Random, but thank you. Actually, it's not random. We talked about Aces High earlier. It's just way back in the chat because people have been leaving so many messages. But thank you guys so much for the interaction tonight. It's been a lot of fun and been very weird at some places. Francis D., what is your limit you're prepared to pay for a film? I'm assuming they mean one film. That's a great question because as a collector, I try to limit. That's a good question. What is my limit for one film? Are we talking new? Because I've paid more in the past for, like we talked about, those out of print titles. I paid $100 from Half Price Books for The Third Man, that limited edition, or not limited, but it was out of print from Criterion. Like I said at the time, early on, that one still hasn't got a re-release yet, so I'm still happy about that. But yeah, that was $100, but that wasn't like a brand new release. That was like out of print, very hard to find, classic, early Digipack slipcover edition from Criterion that they don't do anymore. So I did pay quite a bit for that one. I guess that's probably my limit. I don't think I would pay more than $100 for one film, and I definitely wouldn't do that for like a new thing. Maybe if it's super collectible like that and hard to find and rare, but normally I say my limit is probably around 60. It depends on the film because there's a lot of films I'm not going to pay $60 for, even ones that I really do want. I was speaking of yesterday, after we watched Rear Window, I was looking at some other Jimmy Stewart films that I want to get my hands on, and one of them is, I can't remember what it's called. It's about like a cat and like a psychic or something. Very, very rare. The only boutique release is from Twilight Time, which is a completely defunct label, and it's like $60 or $70 on eBay. And I don't want to pay that much, even though I love James Stewart and it's one of his more popular films. I don't think I pay $60 for one Twilight Time, just kind of bare bones release. It would have to be some kind of like special box set, like I think the Waterworld 4K was $60 when it came out from Arrow, but that's like a big, huge deluxe slip box edition with a big, thick book and 3 different cuts of the film. Like, there's a lot of stuff in there. So you kind of have to, yeah, it would have to be something like that. But I like I said, I've done it before, but I don't think I'd ever pay more than $60 for a new release. And I definitely wouldn't pay more than $100 for like anything, really, even if it was kind of rare. Most of the time I'm spending that much is like a box set or something that I really want. Anyway, Ethan Edwards, I'm sure you'll do fine, but just in case, maybe you should name a successor as host for next week. Good idea. Let's start putting in those comments so you can give me the best compliments or make the funniest joke, and I will leave my entire channel to you in case my deviated septum surgery somehow goes horribly awry. Let's see. I just got to the part where my son popped in. John says, I support a Judah cameo. Yeah, maybe I'll have him on sometime when he's not horrified after just having a nightmare. It'll probably be a lot better for a first appearance. Carrie Witt, my youngest, just came down for the good night hug right before yours did. Huh? Simpatico. Gus says, Lee Chang-do is great. Poetry is amazeballs. 2 things that he has claimed are amazeballs this evening. Neither of them anything to do with goat testicles. So, seems like a missed opportunity there, Gus. Jay Hutch, probably dreaming about frogs. Yeah, I mean, I didn't show him the cover of that Frogs movie, but if I did, maybe so. Carrie Witt, Rear Window is in theaters this weekend for its 70th anniversary. I'm at my top 10 favorites, so I will try and make it out. Do it. Absolutely do it. I just watched the 4K for the first time, and it looks amazing. Love that movie. So good. Francis D, what movie has the biggest improvement in 4K? I don't know for sure, but I can tell you the one that I was blown away the most by was My Fair Lady, way up there in the pink section. My Fair Lady has an incredible 4K, which apparently is well known to collectors. I didn't know it at the time, and I was just like constantly looking over to Grace and being like, doesn't this look absolutely incredible? I don't know why it's such a good 4K release, but it looks so good. It looks insane. It looks like it was shot yesterday. Looks so good, so crystal clear. I think there's another one. There's a couple other big ones that people are, but that's not one you usually think of when you think of great 4K releases. It's just it's a musical, a '60s like low key musical with just a lot of, discussions and stuff. But it's great. Highly recommend it. It's a great movie, and blown away by the 4K transfer on My Fair Lady. Looks awesome. Michael Smith, there are a bunch of films named Mother, but none that I know of named Father. Wasn't there a movie named Father that Anthony Hopkins won for a couple years ago? Wasn't that called Father or The Father or something like that? People still talking about, you know what? Carrie Witt, the most I've paid for a film is the Blade Runner Suitcase Edition. I know it's a 5 discs, but it's basically a single film. Yeah, same. Magnitude Rev, the most I've paid for a film is $35, which was an Imprint Films title. Yeah, Imprint can run you up. I just bought the Out of Towners on Imprint from a seller on the Facebook groups over the weekend, and a couple other Imprint releases. So when those get here, I'd like to do a video on those. Those have been things I've been wanting for a while. Finally found a good deal from a seller who was selling them from Australia. So it's cool. I can't wait for those to get here. I would love to get more Imprint films. They're just hard to get over here in the States. Posty, are you talking about Bell, Book, and Candle? Yes, I am talking about Bell, Book, and Candle. That's the James Stewart film I mentioned. It looks cool. I want to get my hands on it. Please, some other label get the rights to that. Twilight Time is not using them anymore. Someone needs to pick it up. Criterion? Looking at you, kid. Magnitude says, I typically like to wait for sales to come by. Same as me. Carrie Witt, if Disney keeps pricing things like this, I'm going back to buying $5 copies of Hard Bodies. Ethan Edwards, speaking of Jimmy Stewart, I wish Spirit of St. Louis would get a Blu-ray. Yeah, I'm running out of James Stewart movies to buy, and I need more. So please get more of his stuff out on Blu-ray as soon as possible. Let's see. Dan's Den, The Father. Yes, Hopkins won Best Actor. That's what I thought. I thought so. Magnitude, to be honest, I don't like My Fair Lady as a film, but I'm now curious about that 4K restoration. I want a 4K release of Roman Holiday, my favorite Audrey Hepburn film. Didn't that recently get a 4K release? I thought that got one. From Paramount. Presents. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I thought it did. Yes, I promise you, it looks incredible. I don't know why they did such a good job on that of all things, but it looks so good. Let's see. Jay Hutch talks too much. I'm surprised the Deviated Septum isn't the name of a movie being released this week. It would fit right in. With the horror theme we've got going on. Connor Nielsen, by contrast, I popped in American Graffiti on 4K and it looked completely awful. Sorry, man. Sorry about that. That's a bummer. Let's see. Let's wrap this up. Shall we? Any other final comments, final questions, and we'll wrap this up here. Carrie Witt, what Arrow release do you suggest? Gonna hit the sale, baby. Oh, man. That's tough because I'm not the biggest. This is great question to end on. I'm not the biggest Arrow guy, though. I have a pretty big collection over there. Most of it, though, is Arrow Academy. And a lot of it is Arrow Video, like limited box sets that's out of print, so I can't really recommend them to you. Obviously, Hugo. If you haven't got the Hugo 4K back there, looks amazing, and love that movie from Scorsese. I don't know if you can still get the Conan trilogy or Conan box set, but that's pretty good set. I'm trying to see what else. I guess if you're a Guillermo del Toro fan, they just released a 4K of his 2015 film Crimson Peak. if you're interested in that. But yeah, there's been a lot of stuff lately. Hasn't really been my bag. Arrow Video is kind of hit or miss with me. Not like they put out bad stuff. They just don't put out a lot of stuff that appeals to me. They do a lot of horror and like action movies, which I'm not the biggest collector of. I like them, but I just don't collect that many of them. I much more like their fantasy stuff when they get into that. So like the Conan set and the Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, Legend, Waterworld, the Barbarella set they did earlier this year was great. Flash Gordon. I don't have that one yet, but there's an amazing limited edition from Arrow and Flash Gordon. But again, all those are out of print, so you can't pick those up in the sale, but you can't get the standard editions if you don't care about that. Just go for the standards, and they're great. They're fun. They're fun genre fantasy movies. That's what I go to Arrow for, but I know there's a lot of other stuff they're putting out. They have a good selection these days. So yeah, I'm sure other people in the comments can direct you to some good Arrow releases. What else do we have here in the chat? Finishing things up. Great questions tonight, guys. Thank you guys so much for all of the entertaining comments, questions, and suggestions and recommendations. I appreciate that as well. Joshua LeBure, yes, I miss Arrow Academy. I do too. I love Arrow Academy. I've got a few of their releases. I've got the Marx Brothers set back there, which you can see. Also over my right shoulder, you can see the Eric Romer set back there. Complete collection of his stuff. I just actually haven't even showed you guys this yet, but I just got the Decalogue box set over there. That's going to have to be in an upcoming video. The big, huge box set of all 10 episodes of Kieslowski's Decalogue. Looks incredible. I actually went with that one over the Criterion, even though it was a little bit pricier, but I got a great deal on that from a seller on eBay. Couldn't pass it up, so I bought that one. And that's another beautiful Arrow Academy box set. I also miss Arrow Academy. We still get the same films. They're just coming out through Arrow Video, and they're kind of getting the short end of the stick with the releases. They don't get as nice of a treatment as they used to get, I don't think. I mean, Hugo, I would have loved to have gotten like a much bigger, ostentatious release, but we just got kind of a little slipcover on it, which is still cool. You know, it's great. The movie's the most important part, but I love those old Arrow Academy box sets that they used to do. They used to put so much work into them, and I kind of miss it. I wish I wasn't really collecting then. I'm having to go back and like rebuy all that stuff after the fact for eBay prices. But anyway, that is where did I even start? Oh, Joshua got me off on down a rabbit hole. Let's go. People recommending some Arrow stuff. 00711 says RoboCop 100. That's another one that I missed. Exactly. And then Carrie Witt says, yes, RoboCop and Conan set is in the cart. Okay, so you've already got those in the cart. Good to hear. Ethan Edwards also recommends Day of the Jackal and Witness. So yeah, lots of great releases from Arrow Video. Again, I'll throw the reminder out there. Arrow Video doing a 50% off sale at Barnes & Noble. I'm probably going to browse around, peruse the section a little bit, see what they have online and see if I want to get anything ordered. But I'm not going to pick up too much stuff because I've been buying a lot of Arrow box sets lately. So I need to chill a little bit. I need to slow down a little bit. But I've got lots of videos that I want to make for you guys coming out soon. Like I said, I shot most of one right before I went live tonight. Gonna see if I can salvage it and get that up for you in just the next couple days. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. We kept a pretty big audience the whole night, which is surprising because this is a longer one. This is a hefty one, kind of jam-packed with all kinds of releases. Be sure to let me know in the comments down below if you're watching afterwards in the replay which titles you're most excited about or which titles you think we should pick up. And we'll just keep going. Next week, we'll do this again, starting off September. September is usually a little bit of a lighter week, but we'll find something cool to talk about like we always do. Always have a great time talking to you guys. Thanks for joining me again for another great Monday night live stream, and I'll talk to you again next week. But until then, you keep collecting, and I'll be back with another one real soon.